We've packed the toothbrush, said goodbye to the kids, and we're off on a trip of a lifetime to Albania and Uzbekistan and lots of places that aren't in between. So we arrived on a Thursday afternoon after a 7.5-hour bus ride from the Albanian capital, having endured quite a painful border crossing from Albania into North Macedonia. We were pretty tired, but nevertheless excited about a new country and new things to see. So this guy's got his knife out and he's looking at this guy in a rather threatening, menacing way. And this guy is just saying, "Yeah, come on, you want a piece of me? I can take you." Couldn't agree more. My knowledge of this new city and country were a little light, so I knew the best way to get to know a place is to do a walking tour with a local guide. We had 3 hours with Zoran, telling us the tales of the past and the hopes for the future. Skopje has such a rich past with the Romans, the Byzantines, the Bulgarians, the Serbians, the Ottomans, all ruling this place over the years, and then after World War I, it was incorporated into Yugoslavia. Arc de Triomphe, Skopje style. Originally, this statue of Prometheus showed him in all his glory, but that horrified some people, so the sculptor had to come back and give him some underpants. Church still under construction. Gold roof. Whoop, whoop. North Macedonia has only technically existed for 32 years, although it has existed in the hearts and minds of Macedonians since the times of Alexander the Great, who was either Macedonian or Greek, depending on which side of the argument you lie. Skopje is the capital city of North Macedonia, although the locals don't like using the word North, preferring to call it Macedonia. In fact, the name of the country and the flag of the country have been very contentious, and they have had to bow to some pressure from Greece to change both in order to help their application to become a member of the European Union. Anyway, this little city of not quite 600,000 in a little country of not quite 2 million is well worth the visit. The capital city hugs the banks of the Vardar River, and it has a fascination with statues. They are all quite new statues erected since the fall of communism in 1991. But that's because apparently there was an old rule in Yugoslavia, which Macedonia was a part of, that there could only be full-bodied statues made of one guy, and that was General Tito himself, the communist dictator. Looks like Winston Churchill. A lot of other blokes around here too. They love statues. So, I reckon I saw about 150 statues. So whoever is making these things is doing a thriving business and probably working a lot of overtime pumping them out. The biggest statue of them all is reserved for Alexander the Great, who dominates the main square. It's a very impressive monument to a man whose name is synonymous with world conquest, just like Genghis Khan, Attila the Hun, and the guy that invented Coca-Cola. Double-decker bus. All the rage in Skopje. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Made in China, apparently. Double-decker bus. Cruising the double-decker bus. Once upon a time that would have made a fantastic tourist attraction. Not so much these days. The other famous Macedonian was Mother Teresa. She was born here before finding her fame and fortune in India. And by fortune I mean her riches stored in heaven, of course. Her house was actually just off the main square, almost within the shadow of where the great statue of Alexander the Great now stands. Unfortunately, her house stood until the Great Earthquake of 1963, so it's now marked with nothing but a plaque. There is a nearby museum which is dedicated to her, but we arrived on a public holiday, so it's not open. Dang it. We had lunch in the Old Bazaar, which in its heyday was second only to the Grand Bazaar in Istanbul. But unfortunately, most of it was closed because of that public holiday. It's the old right place, wrong time thing which strikes again. Oh look, there's a shadow down there. Good looking shadow too. On the hill overlooking the city is the Millennium Cross. It was only completed quite recently in 2019 and is one of the tallest crosses in the world. It was built to memorialise the 2,000 years of Christianity in Macedonia and to recognise the works of the Apostle Paul in this region as documented in the Bible. We left it quite late in the day before we started climbing it. Yes, we climbed it. There is a cable car option, but we needed the exercise. But it took us an hour and 20 minutes, and we arrived 5 minutes after the cable car stopped accepting people to take down, which meant that we had to walk back down and sunset wasn't too far away, so a bit of pressure there, entirely our ignorance of knowing the closing times. But in the end, we got back to the car park that is halfway up the mountain, and then a wonderful couple took us back into town, so quite the adventure.
We made it to the top! Woohoo!
And the view across Skopje. Funny, the cross looked bigger than that from down below. So there's a whopping great viewing platform that they're building, fairly close to the cross. Look, 24 hours is not long enough in a cosmopolitan European capital city like Skopje. The walking tour was fantastic, but only gave us a sample of what else we should go and see and try. I wish I had allocated a little bit more time to this great city, and the fact it was a Macedonian public holiday didn't help us either. So, oh well, we love you anyway. Skopje, thank you very much.
So if you are familiar with that dispute that we have with Greece about Alexander, we will say that the ancient Macedonians were different than the ancient Greeks. Of course, in Greece they will tell you no, they used to be the same. We've changed the flag anyway, so now we can join European Union, can we? Oh no, the Greeks came back. Now you need to rename the country. Like what? And that's why today you are visiting Republic of
North Macedonia.
Thank you for saying that for me, because I will never say it. I'm among 70+% of the local people that we don't want to use the new official name of the country. In a club, in a bar, in a restaurant, in a park, surrounded with local people. Try not to use the N-word as much as you can. Okay, we've changed the flag, we've changed the name. Now we can join European Union, can we? Oh no, now we have another neighbor. Now the Bulgarians came to us. You want to join? No problem. First you admit that you used to be Bulgarians, that your language is a Bulgarian dialect. But when the government made the decision to discuss the origin of the nation, spontaneously, people start gathering in front of the government buildings. But this time they didn't came only to scream and shout. This time brought something heavy to throw on the buildings. That protest happened more than a year ago. But even today, on one side of the parliament, you can, as soon as the double-decker drove by, you can see the march from the rocks. And on the other side, you can see the march from the eggs thrown on the buildings.
Eggs?
Yeah. And we still want to join European Union. Me, 80% of Macedonian people. We want Macedonia to become member of European Union, but if it's possible to join the organization with a little bit of more dignity, I will be way much more happier rather than to be pushed around like this, you know. I find those problems stupid, ridiculous. I'm just looking for more fair treatment from the European organization. For me as a local, it feels important to give you the local perspective on this. So maybe next time when you're gonna hear about this on the news, you will understand the Macedonian position slightly better.
Please like and subscribe.